Hey everyone, thanks for checking out this video. You're probably here because you're having a problem with this machine, the Keurig View V700, sorry, rather than this one. There's been a lot of videos on YouTube about how to fix either one of these machines, because while the Keurig is great for making coffee, they are very prone to failure. This machine, the Keurig B70, I've had for about 2.5 years. And it's been working fine, but it's gotten to the point to where, probably for the past year, to get it to work correctly, if I haven't been using it for about, like, daily, I would have to hit it. I would basically have to whack it on the side, whack it on the back, whack it on the top to get it to work, even just to get water out of it, because it would start to brew, but it wouldn't brew a full cup. And that would get it to work. So finally I got to the point where I got tired of having to do that, saw that the price on this went down, and thought, well, maybe they fixed the problems with this machine, and then I would buy one of these. But lo and behold, after only having this for 3 days, and this was a brand new machine, it already started to act up and did the same exact thing. I would put a cup in it, hit the brew button, and you would hear the pump start to go, and then the only thing I would get in the cup is maybe 3 or 4 drops. So I looked online, looked on YouTube, and tried to find solutions to fix it, but couldn't find anything. So when I finally dug into it myself and fixed it myself, I thought I would post a video about that. So that's what this is going to be about. So here's the View machine by itself. I took the other one out. So one of the main differences, as you know, is that this uses View packs like this, and the older machine uses the K-Cup. Now, one of the things that a lot of people have complained about is that if you had an older machine, you probably have a ton of these K-Cups, and also, as you know, these K-Cups are a lot cheaper than the View packs, and there's more varieties of coffee, tea, whatever, out there that's available than these. So a lot of people will want to use K-Cups in the View machine. You probably already know that there's ways that you can get around this. One of those is that you take your K-Cup, poke a hole towards the bottom, because actually one of the things you should know about the K-Cup is that the grounds are actually towards the top, not all the way through. Poke a hole through the bottom, and then you take that and you place it inside of a larger View pack like this one. That's for a travel mug. Line up the little hole that you put in the bottom in there, and then you can use that in this machine. But the problem with that, I believe, which led to my problem, is that the grounds inside of a K-Cup are much more compacted in there than they are in the View pack, because the View pack has a larger kind of bag in here that this machine uses. So I think that the grounds are much more compact, so when you do put this in this machine, it becomes a lot more prone to the needle, and as you know, there's 2 needles in here, the needle getting clogged up with grounds, either they be tea or be coffee or whatever. So that's what I found happened to my machine. So the problem I had was that I would start a brew process and I would get 2 or 3 drops of water, and that would be it. It wouldn't brew anything, and it would get to the point where you knew that it was clogged. What I'm going to do is show you how I fixed it, because now it's working back to normal. On this machine, the basic problem that I had was that it would not brew. You would hear the water pump start up when you hit the brew button here. As you see, it's blinking. I would hit the button, I would hear the pump start to go, but then it would maybe make 2 or 3 drops in the cup, and then it would stop. So I had to figure out where that clog was happening. Like I said, I had only maybe used this 4 or 5 times. Admittedly, yes, I did the trick with the K-Cups to also brew a couple. So I think this is also part of the issue. But I think there's also a way that you can get around that as well. So I'm going to show you that. So anyway, basically my troubleshooting process went through the fact that the pump is actually under this opening, or this portion of the machine. And I had the hardest time trying to figure out, because when I looked under here, I could see the lines, the water lines, but I could not really see very well down in here. And I needed to really remove this. Now, the first thing they tell you on this machine is that you should try to clean out this part, I can't remember exactly what they call it, but this doesn't do anything. I mean, I think that's the one little user serviceable part they try to make, because they really don't want you going in here. But I did figure out how to get in here, so I'm going to show you how to do that. There are 2 tabs here that you need to remove, and they're not the easiest things to get off because they're kind of pushed back in there so you can get access to the 2 screws. What I did was I took a razor blade, pressed that in there, and took them off. Probably the easiest way to do it is to do it from the top, and then just put those away so you don't lose them. Okay, once you remove those, you'll see that there are 2 screws here that we need to take out. So you want to take both of those out with a Phillips screwdriver. Okay, once you get those 2 screws off, you can just take this piece and pull it out. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to pull off this portion down here and show you 2 things. The first is that there are 2 pumps, as you see here. This is the water pump that goes into the first needle that goes into the view pack that's behind this little circle, and then there's a second one that actually comes out. That's where the coffee comes out by the spout. Okay, so here's a view of those. Here's another view of those 2 where the water hoses come in. This is the one that comes in. This is the one that goes out. If we take a look on the top here, you'll be able to see the 2 needles. The first one is right here. The second one is right down there. So these are this one probably gets the most clogged than this one. So we're going to focus on those 2. They're just not as easy to get to from here. And also, just to also show you under this, that's where the water comes in from the water pump. So that's the hose where the water is coming into those 2 hoses on the top. So let's go to the next part. For the next section of this, there's going to be 4 screws you need to remove. One is here, one is there, one is there, and there's another one where it's kind of hard to get to, but you can see it is right there. So you need to remove those with a Phillips screwdriver. Okay, now all of the screws are out, and what we want to do is we want to take this disc that has the needles on it off. But the first thing that you have to do is that inside of here on both of the needles, which, yeah, we can kind of see there's a washer, a rubber washer on this one, and there's also another kind of clear washer. Let's see if we can get there. You can kind of see it there on the second needle. Let's switch hands. On the second one here, you got to take these off. This is the small one from the bottom washer, or the bottom needle, and then this was the one from the top. Make sure you keep those, because if you lose these, what will happen is your machine will leak if you don't put them back on. So put those aside. Also, what helps is to have a pair of needle nose pliers on hand to also get those out and to put them back in. So you should have some of those. Alright, so to get this off, what you need to do is you're going to need to pull on both of these tubes to kind of get it out. So so this disc comes out easy enough. And then what you're going to see here is that there are our 2 needles. Now you can see the bottom one has some stuff on it. I already cleaned this top one. But probably what you're going to find is that there's going to be grounds all in this needle here. So best thing to do, take that, rinse that out along with this one, along with this needle, till they're both clean. You can also take an air compressor, the little bottle air, and do that as well. So clean that out. And then you just do the reverse of everything we did to put this back together. Okay, so once you've got everything back together, just one last thing. Make sure you put your little tabs back in here. When you put this back on, the flaps on the side should go towards the outside of this portion where the cup goes in. And what you should find, you should test this before you put everything back in there. But what you should find is when you're ready to run it again and you hit your brew button, you will then get water running again. So that gets this running again. But one tip here, once this finishes, one tip that you should know and that you should stay aware of is that you need to try to keep the needles from getting clogged, because you might clog it up, and then the next day when you come back, then you find that your machine is not working. So probably the best way to alleviate this problem is every time that you try to do one of these K-cups, or you try to do one of the jerry-rigging things, we're trying to make one of these work in this machine, what you'll want to do is when you take it out, take some compressed air, point it at the needle on the top. Point it at the top needle and just hit it, like maybe once or twice, just to make sure that any grounds or anything like that will be out of that needle. Because once they sit there for a day or two, you're going to have this problem and you're going to need to try to clean it out. And again, they're not very easy to clean out because of the way that this is designed. It's just not easy to get to that needle, unlike the older machine. So, hope this helps you out. Thanks for getting all the way to the end. I hope it doesn't wind up being too long, but that's how I fixed my Keurig Vue V700.